Hi, it's Mitch here with the Puck Dawgz. It is Wednesday, the 8th of January, 2020. Got a lot of games going on today, kind of like spread across the board. We got a good NBA schedule. We got a solid college basketball schedule. I didn't look at hockey. Not a sport I follow, and that's why the Puck Dawgz, of course, are here. But
Quality, not quantity on the ice today.
let's see what we got. Just 3 games.
Yeah.
Got not much going on at all. But like I said, a good amount of college hoops and certainly a good amount of NBA. Covered a lot of the bigger games in the YouTube videos already. I did, 20 something YouTube videos. So if you haven't got a chance to check those out, of course, check them out at YouTube. And those are some of the bigger games. And then if it's a game that we're not covered in the videos and we don't cover on the show, just head on over to pickdawgz.com, and we have every game covered every single day. So be sure to check it out. And of course, at 4 p.m., we'll have Charles Ormsby on with his computer. See what he has to say. I don't know how his picks did yesterday, but we'll find out. Rod, how did he do yesterday? Do you know?
I don't know.
All right. We looked at some of these hockey games yesterday on the show with him, and I don't know how they turned out because we had a bunch where we said these are tight. So just looking at the scores from yesterday, wow. Bruins and the Lightning scored some goals.
Oh yeah.
Calgary with the road win there, and Pittsburgh and Vegas, and that is what the computer picked. Was Pittsburgh and Vegas. I know that for sure. It was an A pick. That was a big one. That was a dog, right? A big dog.
Yeah.
Good dog. Yeah. The computer had that as an A plus pick, I think, or it may have been a B plus. I don't know. I'm sure Charles Ormsby will tell us. The weird thing is that kind of like me, he never really talks about his winners and whatever. He's more into he's still crushing data.
Yeah.
It's like I got my 4,000 data points, and it's like he's always interested in like the next set of data and not looking back at like that nice win. He celebrates the win less than I do, I think, which I didn't think was possible. But boy, Matt Rule is rich man. That one kind of came out of nowhere, right? He's had 1 year of NFL experience as like an assistant offensive line coach, and he's the head coach of Baylor, and he did a great job at Baylor. Awesome. I mean, how much money did we win on Baylor this year? I mean, crazy, right? And hoops too. I mean, again last night, against Texas Tech. I love that Baylor basketball team. I love them this year. But yeah, I mean, God, I think he got $9 million a year. $9 million a year. It's like, I love you, Baylor, but $9 million a year, man. He got like 8 years. He might have got more than that, right?
It was 7 years, 60 million.
Oh my!
And it's up to 70 million.
So it's at 8.8,
like 3/4 or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll get a deal for gear and stuff too.
And they said that it could go up to 70 million with incentives.
Yeah, Rule said he was staying at Baylor, but he had 70 million reasons not to stay. I don't blame the guy. I know he was making actually really good money at Baylor. He was making about close to 4. But road to 1 million subscribers. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Over almost 50% of the people that watch our show don't subscribe. You don't have to hit the notifications to get notified every time I upload a video, but just subscribing, it helps us. But yeah, that's a lot of money, right? That is a ton of money for a college coach. But it's a tough thing. You could be like Bobby Bowden or Bear Bryant or Nick Saban, someone like that, where you're kind of a college coach your whole life and make a really, really good living and kind of be there as long as you want to be, like Joe Paterno was at Penn State until the bitter end. If you have the right job and you're the right guy, you can put yourself in that kind of situation. Tom Izzo at Michigan State, I mean, these are the jobs. Coach K at Duke, right? These are those jobs. But you go to the pros, what's the average lifespan of an NFL coach? We're talking 3-4 years. It's big money, and a lot of that contract, I'm going to guess, is guaranteed. Is why he took it. He probably figures that everything else is always going to be there for him, and maybe that's a personal career goal of his. But I think a lot of the college coaches look back that went to the NFL, look back and regret it. Most regret it. There's very few Pete Carrolls, but Pete Carroll at the end at USC, he was in trouble there, not for the team's performance on the field, and the team was declining, but it was more for everything that was going on off the field. He was under big scrutiny. Butch Davis says to this day his biggest regret in coaching was leaving Miami. Jimmy Johnson, who went on to win many Super Bowls in Dallas, his biggest regret was leaving Miami. It's like Dennis Erickson, leaving Miami. It's like they all said the same thing. I could have stayed there forever and kept winning, and I would have been set for life. I could have been doing it. But anyways, let's get to some games. There is only 3 NHL games, so we'll get to this first one. Chris, the Leafs are taking on the Jets. The JTS Jets plus 150 here against the Leafs. Boy, coaching change, it's like, what's the record since the coaching change? It is.
It's
off the chart.
11-6, 11-5, right? Yeah, it's like 11-5-1 or something like that.
They're 24. It's got to be better than that, because I think they had a losing record before the coaching change, and now they're 24-15-3. I mean, the Leafs are almost 10 games over 500. They were a game under when right, or 2 games under.
Yeah, something like that. A couple games under 500.
We'll find out. We'll get. I mean, I bring this number up, but we'll find out. Chris, while you're talking about it, I'll be Googling over here, and I don't mean that. I mean, I'll be Googling to find out what the coach is. It's like, it's like someone asked me, "You ever Google yourself?" It's like, what the hell are you talking about? It's like, that don't even sound right. It's like, that's wrong in so many ways, and it's like, then you like type your name. It's like everyone's like Googling themselves. All right, Chris, go ahead with the game. I'm going to look up the coaching change in Toronto and manually figure out the record since then.
Yeah, I like Toronto in regulation here. The Leafs were exposed against Edmonton, but they did make a little bit of a comeback before McDavid undressed Morgan Riley at the blue line. Possibly the goal of the year, but yeah, Winnipeg, as good as they've been on the road, they just haven't had success against Leafs. They've lost 5 of the last 6 against Toronto. I just think Toronto bounces back here. I think Freddie Anderson has sort of a bounce back game after being a little bit ticked off that he was pulled in the last game. I like Toronto here in regulation.
Rod, I got the date now of the coach firing. Now I'm just manually calculating. So, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, I like everything that Chris said. These Leafs are going to be coming out here focused and pumped. I see them beating the Jets here about 5-3. I also like the over here. I think we're going to see some goals.
So how about I need you guys to talk about something else then. We're going to talk about it like that because I'm counting games here. How about the Flyers against the Capitals?
Yeah, I'm gonna go on Washington here. I know Philadelphia is great at home. The problem is they've only won 3 of their last 11 games on a back-to-back. Washington's still the best road team in the league, 17-5-1 this season. Washington's also 5-1 on the second half of back-to-back. I just think Washington's form comes into play here, and Philadelphia's struggled lately, so I'll take Washington.
All right, I have the number here. So winning percentage, over under 60. What do you think, Chris?
I'll go over.
Over.
70. Over under 70.
Over.
It's over.
Yeah.
15-6. And 3 of those losses were almost right out of the gate. So he was fired on November 21st, coming off of a 6-game losing streak. Okay, they were on a 6-game losing streak. They won their next 3 and then lost 3 of their next 4. But since that lost, the losing 3 of their next 4, 12-3, man. This team's on fire.
Fire.
They're on fire. They lost last time out to Edmonton, but they had won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They had gone 11-2 over the prior 13. And I know we're segmenting out of the schedule, and you ever see these handicappers? I'm 6-1 in my last 7 picks. It's like, yeah, what are you in your last 7? It's like, right? It's like they skew it. Since 14-3 on Wednesdays in my 2-star plays. It's like,
the Leafs lost the last game only because McDavid stood on his head. He was like Mr.
Well, I mean, that's part of the game. That's part of the game.
Oh, yeah. That deke was insane, man. He wasn't even looking at the guy. You got to watch that. If you haven't seen it, you got to watch it. That's totally real close to goal of the year, man. I can't believe he did that.
So what do we have in this one?
Yeah, I have Washington.
Yeah, I got to go Washington too. Washington's 5-0 in the last 5 against Philadelphia. This is the first game for Philadelphia back at home, so they're doing all the home thingies. This is a bad spot for Philadelphia here. Give me Washington. I like Washington on the puck line. I think they can win by a couple.
I like Notre Dame against NC State. I know 59% of the public is with me, which is not a place I usually like to be, but I'm going to be there today. I'm not a big Notre Dame fan. I think everybody knows that, right? Any team that's like a very popular team, Notre Dame, Boston Reds, right? I mean, not where I normally am, but man, I thought that Notre Dame win over Syracuse on Saturday was super impressive, and I just like the way that they played and gutted it out. And I think when you have a gutsy team like that, I think it's a good place to be, and I'm going to take Notre Dame plus the 5 points. NC State is the type of team that they could come out and beat Kansas, and then they could come out and lose to a Division III school. They are just so sloppy, and they've been that way for a long time. But I'm going to take Notre Dame. We're getting 5 points in this thing. I'm going to put a little bit on the money line here as well. I think there's some good value there. I did a video on this one, but I'm going to say it again. I'm just going to continue to fade Rhode Island. I'm going to take Davidson plus the 3 points. I think we take them on the money line as well. Rhode Island's dumpster fire, terrible, man. They lost to Brown. I'm not letting it go. I know it was 2 games ago. We'll be sitting here in like early March in conference tournament time. I'll say, yeah, they lost to Brown in December, and I'm not going to let it go.
Brown won 2 in a row. I think they whooped somebody yesterday.
Yeah, well, so Florida A&M beat Iowa State. How do you like Iowa State's chances tonight against Kansas?
I don't.
Yeah. If they beat Kansas, then tomorrow's show I'm going to lead in. Well, Florida A&M beat Iowa State, and Iowa State beat Kansas. What would Florida A&M do to Kansas? Kind of like they beat Seton Hall. Iowa State, they played Seton Hall back-to-back games, which is crazy, right? It's like
crazy.
They lost the first one, but they won the second one. So if Florida A&M beat Iowa State, what would they do to Seton Hall if they could get a piece of them? This is why they're 2-11. They just don't get a chance at these other teams. It's really part of the problem here. I think so. I don't know. I'm just going to go with Davidson. It's a pure Rhode Island fade. I did the pure Rhode Island fade on Saturday when we had the Brady Bunch here, and I was on the other side of all you guys. I told you to take Richmond. I told you so on Richmond, and I begged you to take Richmond. And, of course, Davidson. We were all over Duquesne like a cheap suit, man, against Davidson. We've been fading Davidson like no one's business. But, yeah, I like the Cats here. I really hate the way Rhode Island is playing right now. I really do. So, that's going to be my pick here. Let's go back. You guys have any opinion on that one? I know you guys were on Rhode Island last time. You still on the horse here, Chris?
No, I'm on Davidson.
I like
Davidson's been a real crap show also all season. I mean, they're 6-7 for a reason. You know, it's called they've lost more games than they've won. That's the reason. We're gonna dig deep here today. It's like they're 6-7 because they've won 6 games and lost 7 games.
Well, now they can get to 500. They beat Rhode Island.
If you can beat URI on the road.
I think they can.
I thought this line was bad. I thought this was a bad line, and I didn't do a video on it, and I didn't give a premium pick out on it. But St. Bonaventure's was +3 last night against George Mason, and I mean, somebody saw the same thing that I did, and they hit this thing with probably half their bankroll because 27% of the public on the Bonnies, and the line dropped 1.5 points. Someone just smacked this thing is what happened, and I could see why, because like I looked at this game and I was like, it was one of those ones that I had on the thing, and it kind of like somehow it drifted away from me. But yeah, it's like what we saw from George Mason last time out does not inspire me that they're going to beat St. Bonnie's, who's on somewhat of a roll here, right? I mean, they're playing pretty solid basketball. They lost at Buffalo, but I honestly, you know, for me, of the MAC teams, and I say this in all the videos, so if you don't watch my videos, you've never heard me say this before, but I'll say it here for you. Buffalo's been in the NCAA tournament the last 4 years, and they have wins the last 2 years in the NCAA tournament, and they're a MAC team, so you know they're the lower seed team, right, every single time. So they've won as a lower seed in the NCAA tournament the last 2 years. So St. Bonaventure's lost to them. Their last loss before that was to Canisius. But inside there, they played a bunch of garbage teams, but they took care of business against all of them. Not just winning, covering the spread in all those games too. They crushed some people. So
and they also beat Rutgers on the road too.
Yeah, and
pretty good.
I have, I know that the teams they don't look in the one loss, and when they're doing the selection thing and all that other stuff. They don't look at covering the spread and all that stuff, but I do. I do. So, that's how I do it, and I like St. Bonnie's here. Yeah, VCU, last time, it's pretty much exactly how we called that game. They were going to bottle them up, and someone actually came on the comments on YouTube, and unfortunately, I say, oh, these guys never show up again after the video. Yeah, because I blocked them, right? Because he was just being a pain in the ass, but he was just like really killing me on the VCU pick in that game, and I said, this is the type of game where VCU puts them in a box. It's like all the things that VCU does well, George Mason doesn't do well, and we saw that in that game. And it was one of those ones where it was like kind of like a Floyd Mayweather fight, where he doesn't really knock the guy out, and some of the times he knocks him out, sometimes he doesn't, but it's just a one-sided rollover fight where basically he just boxes the guy around, poke, pack, peck. It's like there's not really a doubt as to who's going to win this one. I think we have a similar issue here for George Mason. We got the same problem that they had against VCU on a smaller scale, but they're favored this time. It's like it doesn't even make any sense. They only score 69 points a game. That it doesn't work when you're playing against a top 100 defense. And I think in college basketball, you can go that deep because the top 100, you're better. You're like the top 20%. So St. Bonnie's is 68th in the country in defense. George Mason has no chance. They're not going to be able to score any points. It's just not going to happen. I mean, they both score about the same amount. George Mason has the 100th ranked defense. I don't like them in this spot. I think George Mason is an underrated program overall from top to bottom. Most people, if you ask them, You know, how many students go to George Mason? Like, if you ask the casual college basketball fan, or even the hardcore college basketball fan, most people think that like George Mason is like a small school, like Citadel or something, you know, or like, you know, something like that. George Mason's gigantic. They have, I bet you they have 40,000 students, maybe more. I don't know. Lou lives next to George Mason. You tell us, Lou. How big is George Mason? It's a big school, right? It's like 40,000 students or something. I'll Google it while these guys are talking ice. Kings against the Stars, Chris.
Yeah, I like Dallas here. I mean, it's like I said, LA's defensive issues are starting to come back again. And I mean, the Stars, despite having issues up and down lately, they've still won 4 straight coming into this game, and they've had the upper hand on the Kings. I think they've won 4 straight against LA, 4 of the last 5 in Los Angeles. We're getting a decent price with the Stars here, playing better hockey. I'll take the Stars. Minus
George
140.
Mason, over 35,000 undergraduate students. This is a big school. It's bigger than like Miami. That's like 7 Miamis and like 7 Notre Dames. That's how big that is.
That's crazy.
7 times the size of Miami or Notre Dame or Duke. This is huge. I mean, 35,000 is gigantic. Ohio State, that's where my nephews go, and I know that used to be the biggest. I don't know if it still is, but let's see what Ohio State's registering these days. Ohio State, 61,391 students. That's gigantic. And I'll tell you what, still super difficult to get in. Super difficult, even in-state.
That's crazy amounts of people. When I live in a small town of 900.
I live on an island where we have less than 100,000 people, and most of them are tourists. So people that actually live here is less than that. We live in a tiny little place, but we love it. But anyways, I'm actually considering moving, or at least getting a mainland place again. I don't miss Vegas, like, you know, and having the Vegas place, but I think some of the things that I want to do, like a lot of these shows and stuff, I think I might be better suited to be on the mainland, to build out a studio and to have, you know, do some real shows, because I have a lot of people that want to do shows with us. Like, you know, they see what we're doing with the Pick Dawgz. They see what we're doing with Steve Monahan, with Charles Ormsby, and how we're doing it with people that these are not the same old tired names that you see everywhere else, and the same guys that, you know, the old time, you know, we're not hiring someone because of their age, looks, you know, even though these guys, I mean, come on, you know, it's like, you know, it's like we don't bring people on because of anything like that, you know, some hot chick or something, you know. It's like, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like, we're not going to bring people on for those reasons, but we're trying to bring on fresh people. And yeah, we're not opposed to bringing on some of the old school guys too, but I think that for me, you know, hearing a new voice and people that understand not just who we're talking to, you know, which is super important, because I think a lot of those people that are older in the industry just don't have the association with the audience like we try and do here at Pick Dawgz. And I think that, you know, I think that they haven't done this business in this era. They've only done it through somebody else. And it's hard to describe what I mean, but it's like, if you're a handicapper on somebody else's website, it's not the same as, you know, guys who are in the Facebook group, you know, follow the YouTube channels and understand what people are watching and why they care and all of these things. Like, these guys, they know, you know, they know. It's kind of like this is who we are. I try and explain it to people and just know, but people, this is what they do. They nod their head and they don't believe me. You know, it's like, if you want to go out to dinner tonight, right? If you want to go out to dinner tonight, who are you going to ask? You know, the New York Times food critic or Yelp?
Yelp.
Who has more power? the New York Times food critic, who was everything, right, 20 years ago, when these guys were big, right, these other people in this industry, when they were big, who was big? The New York Times food critic, right, was everything. A 5-star New Yorker. Hey, this guy's got a 5-star Uber rating is bigger than that now.
Yeah.
Right? It is. It is, right? The Uber rating is bigger than the New York Times food critic. And I'm not putting them down or anything, but it's like we don't care that it's like my friends and I, when we go out to dinner and stuff, I don't drink, but even if I'm picking up the tab, it's like I always get nice bottles of wine or whatever. And my lawyer, guy with the bills that we've had, has sent me some nice bottles of wine too. But it's like, we always just laugh. The guys like my friend Scoob always take a drink, and the first thing he always says, and he's been doing this for 20 years, he always says the same thing because he's the guy who when they bring the bottle over, he's the one that does this. Right, and he does this, and then he drinks it. And this is exactly what he says. I've gone out to dinner with him probably 100 times, and he said this 100 times. He goes, "It's got good legs." It's like he just loves saying it.
It's got a nice body and nice legs.
It's exactly it. It's got great legs. Anyways, let's get back to some sports. You guys see anything in the NBA, Chris, that just jumps off the page at you?
I've been trying to skim over it and see if I can find anything.
How about the Bulls versus Pelicans? I think this is. I'm going to ask Ormsby about this one today. To me, these are two teams, right, that are 12 and 25, 13 and 24, and play to the final buzzer, right? I mean, these are teams like the Pelicans decided about a week and a half ago that they decided they wanted to start playing basketball. They decided the season finally started. And it kind of came out of nowhere, It was like, we're just going to kind of use the Zion's not playing excuse, and we traded Anthony Davis excuse, right? And we got some draft choices on the way, and we got help on the way. So it's kind of just, we'll just kind of show up and collect a paycheck. And then something kicked in, like, hey, if we don't play hard, we might not have jobs next season. And all of a sudden, they're winning games. So they're 6-4 in their last 10 straight up. The Pelicans, they only got 12 wins on the season, So that's what I mean. Half their wins have come in their last 10 games. And the Bulls 4-6 in their last 10. They got 13 wins on the season. But this team has played hard and covered spreads. They're 9-7 against the number on the road. Do you want to give 4 points to a team with a winning road road record against the spread, 4 points, with a team that's only won 6 times at home this season? That's really what this one comes down to, and you kind of got to, I know a lot of times, a lot of people don't look at this. They look at, wow, man, the Pelicans are playing great. Whatever, the Bulls are on the road. It's always, in this chat, which I'm pointing to the chat box on my screen where you can see everybody's comments. It's always like, this guy's injured. This guy's got the flu. It's like, we know. But for me, when I'm handicapping, I look at it and I say, do I want to lay 4 points with a team that's only won 6 times at home against the team that's covered 9 of 7 on the road? It's a tough one, right?
It is a tough one.
That's a tough question, man. It's really, really tough. All right, we got some questions here then. Let's go over some of the questions. I know we don't do the free-for-all style. We haven't done it in a while, but let's do some questions and put them right up at the top. Morning, Anthony. Good morning. Road to 1 million. He's talking about subscribers on YouTube. That's our goal, is 1 million. And as soon as we hit 1 million, we will have that new goal, 10 million. But I think we can do 1 million. I think it's going to take us a little bit, but we're going to get there. The computer picked the Islanders also. Did the Islanders win?
Yeah.
Yep. The computer picked the Islanders as well. I know that because I brought that one up on the show under there. Those are the 2 games that I asked about, and he hit both. Great job on your 3-team underdog picks yesterday. Did they win? Did I win?
The Devils lost.
I think you went 2-1.
2-1?
Yeah,
2-1 on your underdog.
Devils?
Yeah.
the Devils lost to the Islanders.
That's the one that I lost. So I had the other two, though. The other two were probably the bigger payers, too. The Devils were just plus 105.
Yeah.
Rule said he was staying at Baylor, and I've said, I'm not going to say what I was going to say. I almost said something, and I didn't say it there. But the last word was mouth. I had Villanova and Rutgers on the money line. Easy win. Well, thanks for telling us now. You know, I really, you know, that's just great that you won yesterday. I'm 100% in those. Heat +1 versus Pacers. There's a video out there on that. Who cares who you had the day after? Thank you, Cliff. At least I'm not alone. Do you know who Cash Chasing Payments is? No.
Who?
I have no idea what that is. Thank you for that Texas A&M pick yesterday. That was the dog of the day. Toronto's starting to take a few lumps. They lost one game in their last. I mean, we just went through their whole thing. Oh, we did this game. Ironic, right? His A pick was the Rangers +1.5 to 1. That pick provided for free on the site for Ormsby. How did the Suns surrender a 20-point lead against the Kings with 1/4.5 remaining? The biggest choke ever. I'll correct your spelling to choke on that one. I'm with you. I'm shocked the Suns blew that game. I'm not. No, I'm not using the software in all my pick decisions, but I'm certainly going to start checking it a lot more often. That's for sure. The problem with the software for me on the pick decisions is that the picks don't come out until the morning. For you guys, it's great. TCU is better than I thought. I don't know what it is. I had the Blues on the puck line, and they were up 3-1 to give up a shorthanded goal with 3 minutes to go. Oh, well, I had look, you want to go into bad beats, how much time we got? I had the White Sox on the run line up by 3 runs. The pitcher gives up 2 solo home runs with 2 outs and then struck out the next guy on 3 pitches. How about that? You know, about 85 times last season that happened to me. That happens to me all the time, right? I'm not going to say all the time, but it happens more often than you think, where a relief pitcher comes in, you got the run line and a 2-run lead, gives up the solo home run with 2 outs, and then strikes the next guy out on 3 pitches. I mean, it's like, where was that a batter ago? It's like...
I think the Mets were worse last year. What were they, up 7 in the bottom of the 9th?
Yeah,
it was like...
Believe it or not, you know, I am a fan of the White Sox, and my wife, she's just like, over the last few years, she turns the TV off, you know, when it gets to the 8th and 9th inning. Because she just can't stand me to hear me say, as a fan, I can't believe they did that again. It's like, again. We didn't talk about it much, but I think the Diamondbacks getting Madison Bumgarner was a huge get.
Yeah.
Good morning, Jaws. What do you like in the Tulane versus UConn? I don't know. Let's take a look. Tulane's coming off that big win against Cincinnati. I gave that out as a premium pick. Tulane against Cincinnati. They were at home, but now they go on the road. UConn is kind of rejuvenated. I think they get back to the tournament this year. UConn had like a weird run, right? Like this really weird run that they had. And they first they were academically ineligible for the tournament, and it kind of all unraveled from there. But now they look to be a little bit better. This is a team that traditionally, with a couple of good guards, man, they go far. Let's see. So Tulane is plus 11.5. That is a bundle. They're 1-1 on the road, 2-0 against the number, 7-3 against the spread. Just almost looks like a sucker line here, right? UConn 7-1 straight up at home, 5-2 against the number at home. I just think it's a sucker line at 11.5 because Tulane seems too obvious of a pick there. I'm going to take UConn. On the sucker bet alone, I'm not betting it. San Diego State versus Wyoming, over under 120. Wyoming's terrible this year. They're getting 17 in this beauty.
Over.
It's 119.5 is where it actually is.
Give me the over.
Yeah, I think over as well.
Yeah.
That's me. Hockey runs in the blood. Good morning.
I think that's a giant number. I like San Diego State to cover that giant number too.
Be sure to hit the thumbs up. And so the Islanders won in overtime in that game against the Devils. Huh? It was that close to my 3-2.
It was that close.
Wow. Yeah, if you haven't done so, hit the thumbs up. And if you haven't done so, subscribe to our channel. As I said earlier in the show, less than 50% of you people that watch our show subscribe. And I'm not saying you got to sign up for the notifications, because I'm loading videos like crazy, right? I mean, who wants to get notified every 2 seconds? I mean, I'd even done subscribe to my own channel if that was the case. The notifications are great for the live shows, for the weekends and stuff. But I'm not sure if you want to get those notifications every single day on every single video. But let's keep rolling through some of these questions. Smash the like button. Anything on the Spurs Celtics? The game it's actually 6.5. Danny has a better line if he wants the Celtics than we do. It is a worse line for the Spurs. Chris, anything?
Yeah, I kind of like the Spurs with the points.
110 people watching and 47 likes.
Yeah, I kind of like the Spurs with the points.
I like the other way. Give me Boston and the points. I think Walker's questionable. I think he'll be back here in this game. I like the Celtics here today.
All right. Raptors Hornets plus 3.5. Chris, Raptors Hornets.
Yeah, I'll take the Raptors. I think they go into Charlotte and win by maybe 6 or 7.
Give me Charlotte. Raptors are going to go on the road and choke like they did last night in the fourth. It was ugly.
Okay. We did this one. Stony Brook plus 9 versus Vermont. Right, Vermont, we were all over them last year, but this year they have not been a great place to be. Kind of like Stony Brook there. It's a lean at best for me. How about you guys?
Yeah, I went Stony Brook.
Yeah, I think there's too many points for Vermont to cover this year. Give me Stony.
Stony Brook's a Mark team, and so
yeah,
that's for me. Mark loves Stony Brook. Seawolves. Nick's killed his parlay. Did this one. Josh has asked that question 5 times. We did it. We did this one. Sweet. I also had the 49ers over the Chargers in the Super Bowl and Steve Young won. And I also had a side bet on the prop that Steve Young was going to be the MVP that game. I also had the under in the Rams-Patriots last year's Super Bowl. Mitch, love you. Do you sleep? Watched you after midnight last night, now at 10 a.m. Yeah, I don't sleep much, to be honest with you, and I've slept less and less, and that's why, like I said earlier in the show, I'm considering either moving to the mainland or getting a space on the mainland, setting something up over there, and then deciding how things are going, and then come back here and either resuming life here or packing things up here. I'm just not sure what I'm going to do. I have some big announcements coming up, and I'll let you guys know when that happens. It's going to be about the 31st, like Super Bowl weekend. I have some big announcements to make about things that are going on, and I'm thinking about opening up, like having a studio on the mainland where we'll do shows like this, but then we'll also have people in the studio on other things. So it's like we'll still have like the Puck Dawgz, but they might have their own show where we just do a hockey show, and it's just them and me, or them and somebody else, or whatever. We'll figure that out. And then, but I'm also thinking about having, like, instead of like me and Steve Monahan doing football, having me and somebody else in the studio doing football, and then kind of like, you see, just like you see on TV and anywhere else, kind of where you bring these other people in, and they're either in a screen behind you or in a box in the corner, or less. I mean, online you see the box in the corner. On TV you see the screen behind you, and then they kind of cut to the whole screen, where they make it the whole screen, and they cut behind, right, where they're kind of behind, and right. I want to do stuff like that, and I'm thinking about going on Twitch. And I know I'm giving away one of my ideas here, but I'm thinking about Twitch and forming like our own channel and our own, basically, sports betting network, where we'll have a set programming, like, well, it'll take a little bit more discipline from us because, like the Puck Dawgz, the show will be, exactly an hour every day, at this time. We'll have a schedule and time slots, and, and I don't think we can do 24 hours of programming, but I think we could do 5 or 6 or 7. I think we could. And I don't know if I could do all of it, but these are just things. And yes, I don't sleep much. That's the truth. I don't sleep enough. My doctor says that. My wife says it. Everybody says it. Sometimes I nap in the morning. You guys have any thoughts on this one? It's one question per person. This guy's asked a bunch. So if you don't have an answer, it's okay.
What is it?
It's UCF against SMU, 7.5.
I'm all over SMU here. They've just been a covering machine.
The ponies are tough.
You got like UCF.
Why is it called a bird cage? I'm not sure. It's probably we can go Google it since we're Googling this morning. Yeah, a lot. This is this. I guess I Googled birdcage bet, and there's a lot of people ask the same question. There's also the reverse birdcage. I just like saying it. Moneyline hockey covered 9 out of 11. Is that the software, Nick? I don't know what that means. Joshua Bell wants a show. Wizards plus 10.5. I don't know who they're playing. How about no idea what that means? I'm new to Pick Dawgz and everything you guys, though. Yeah, that you can email me. Mitch, what are your thoughts about the Bucks versus Warriors on the spread? I think I did that on the video. There's a video on YouTube. Check it out. Go on the Thunder. Yeah, we only got a couple more minutes left. How do you thumbs up while watching the live feed? Doesn't let you. Yes, it does. So here's how you do it. Good question, Joseph Urbina. Chris is exasperated. That was an exasperation, wasn't it?
No, sore back.
Sore back.
How to make the law of attraction work for you? And why how to make the law of attraction work for you?
So you hit this. You see, you're watching the video. There's an X right there. Oh, I don't. Oh no. You're watching the video. There's an X right there. Oh, I better mute this. Oh, come on. So it says I just messed this up. Oh man. But anyways, so if you're watching it, let's see, I got the circle of death, but there I can see, here's all your comments on YouTube. And there's an X right here. So you hit the X, and then right there, it gives you the thing to hit the thumbs up. See, we got 1 thumbs down and 66 thumbs up, even though there are 106 people watching. You see that? 106 people watching, 66, so it's 40 of you that got a little bit of work to do over here. And so you hit the thumbs up, and then you can go right here back where it says live chat. It's the middle one. You see it right there? It says live chat right there. You click on that, and then there's the chat back again. So that's how you do it. Not that difficult. Why is the Kansas line dropping? I'm not sure. I'll have to look at it after the show. Yeah, we don't talk about that. That's a delete question. Let's see. Get to it. Huh. Yeah, it's not how we do questions. Not how we do questions. Chris, Northwestern Illinois.
Wait, Illinois.
Oh, Indiana.
Oh, okay. I'll take the points with Northwestern.
Rod, any opinion?
I like Illinois.
There it is. I found a quarter in my couch last week. Easy money. Nice job. Good score. Puck Dogs have helped my bankroll out. Thank you, Chris and Rod. We rock. Alabama -4, Mississippi State. I did a video on this one. The reason why I'm not giving picks on these games, I did videos on them. So you guys can see my videos over on YouTube. I'm not going to talk about the same game over and over again. Not why I'm here, but when I just defer to people like that, to Chris or Rod or whatever, it's because I've already done it on YouTube, and you can get my pick there. But Chris, anything on this one? Alabama, Mississippi State?
Yeah, I love Alabama here. The line's dropped to 3.5, but it's just less far I have to go. I'll take Alabama here.
Rod, anything?
Yeah, I like Alabama here too.
Yeah, if you don't give
I
the
just think
spread,
they're one
then
of
we
the
don't know
better
what it is.
16.
Yeah, you got to give the spread. When you see W lost you, what do points mean? I think they're asking you in the NHL how many points are given for what in the NHL. So like NHL uses a point system. There's wins in regulation, right? Overtime wins and shootout wins, different points.
No, it's two wins, 2 points for a win, 1 point for an overtime or shootout loss. A win is a win. A win is 2 points, no matter when it comes to regulation or overtime. And then regulation loss is 0 points.
Okay, so if you can lose and still get points.
If you make overtime.
If you go to overtime. The international game is a little bit different. Like I think the World Juniors tournament that Rod and I were kind of
South Dakota State versus Denver. Yeah, we're not getting into the international game here. We got to stick on topic. We got about 3 minutes left of time here. South Dakota State versus Denver.
South Dakota State.
I like South Dakota State. I love the Jackrabbits.
Yeah, give me the Jackrabbits too.
Birdcage originated in a game of chance with 3 dice. Why would anyone dislike the video? I don't know. It's usually someone that gets notifications that just shows up to do it. Nice. Press X on the live chat to clear, hit live chat again. I feel about the Bulls over under. If you're going to ask a question, you need to give the point spread or the total. We are not mind readers, man. Wizards versus Magic -10. I did a video on this one, so once again, I'm not doing it. So you guys have any opinion?
Give me the Magic.
I like the Wizards.
I like LaSalle in this one against UMass. I think they're the better team, minus the 1.5.
I like UMass.
We did this game, Capitals, Flyers. Why are the Nuggets the underdog against the Mavericks? Public. If you watch my video, I talk about that, actually. Yeah, the Red Sox stealing signs didn't help them this year. We did this game. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't. Maybe it is. I could care less. If one of the 6 people that watch their show came by and hit the thumbs down, so be it. I don't care. We got 129 people watching. Chris, let's bring it home. You seem to do a good job of leading us off with your final picks. Let's look into the camera this time when you say them. How about that? Let's
All right.
Mix it up a little bit. Here, I'm holding out my pen for you to stare at. We need you to tape your picks up above it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I like the Leafs in regulation here. I like the Capitals minus 135. I like the Stars minus 140. 3-way parlay. I like all the Leafs, Capitals, and Stars in regulation at plus 785. I like Notre Dame plus 5 against NC State. Alabama minus 3.5 against Mississippi State. Davidson plus 3 against Rhode Island. St. Bonaventure, I like them on the money line against George Mason. SMU minus 7.5 against UCF. San Diego State over 119.5 against Wyoming. I like San Diego State minus 17 there as well. Texas minus 2 against Oklahoma. Spurs plus 6 against Boston. I like Toronto minus 2.5 against Charlotte.
Rod, you're up.
All right, I like Washington today in the NHL. Give me on the puck line. I like him on the puck line here. I like all the NHL on the puck line today. Give me Washington on the puck line, Dallas on the puck line, and the Leafs on the puck line. Parlay that up. Give me a plus 1804. NBA, I like Indiana. Give me Indiana minus 1. The Celtics, I think Walker's going to be back. Give me the Celtics minus 6.5. And the Raptors on a back-to-back. Give me Charlotte. Raptors choked that game away last night. College basketball, I like San Diego State minus 17. I like the over 119 in that same game. I like Seton Hall plus 2.5. I like Kansas. I guess that number's dropping. I got it at minus 4.5. I like UK minus 7.5. I like St. John's here today. Give me St. John's plus 4. 3-team third cage college basketball. Give me San Diego minus 17. Give me St. John's plus 4. And give me Seton Hall plus 2.5 as the 3-team parlay there.
Sounds
I also like
exciting.
St. Bonnie's. I like Davidson, and I like Notre Dame.
Cleaning my sunglasses while these guys were talking. Anyways, I'm going to have Charles Ornsby on at 4 o'clock today. So be sure to check it out. If you missed it, Charles Ornsby was up, the last time we checked, 106 units on his highest ranked picks over the last 30 days. We'll check again today and we'll see. We'll get an update on that number. But that's where he was when we last checked. I took Notre Dame, Davidson, St. Bonnie's, UConn, and LaSalle today. Those were the picks that I gave out on the show. I gave out tons of YouTube videos. I did over 20 YouTube videos. So subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our videos. You want my picks for free? That is the best place to get my picks. If you want a pick on a specific game and you don't want to watch the YouTube video, or we don't have a YouTube video on it, what you do is you go over to pickdawgz.com and you can see basically all of the games there, right? Every single game that's on the card in every single sport, and get an opinion. I know that Chris doesn't just give out NHL picks here. He gives them out there as well. So if you want to read more in-depth analysis on how Chris gets there, you can read his picks at Pick Dawgz. Same thing with the college hoops. He doesn't cover NBA there, but he could. He could. It's the reason why Chris doesn't cover NBA at Pick Dawgz is because we already have guys that have been with us for a long time that have been covering NBA. But doesn't mean we're not in the market for guys, because like I said, big announcement coming at the end of the month. Anyways, guys, thanks for joining me. The show ran a little longer than we hoped, but kind of par for the course, right? I'll see you guys out on the golf course, and I'll see you guys at 4 o'clock Eastern time with Charles Ormsby and his computer and his software, and hopefully some winning picks like you put us on yesterday. A bunch of them, right? I guess. And that's what everyone's saying. See you later.
Have a good day.
Yep.